I just have this innate desire to make stuff, and making crap gives me this like visceral, bubbly, happy feeling. And so like every now and then I want to make music, every now and then I want to make art, every now and then I want to make, I don't know, sandwiches. And so like I just want to wake up every day and make stuff. My name is Trevor McFedries, aka DJ Skeet Skeet or Young Skeeter or other variants of my artist aliases, and I'm from Los Angeles, California and Davenport, Iowa. I remember growing up, my mom always played a ton of like R&B and rap music, which was always weird to me because I was a kid and my mom was like bumping R. Kelly on the way to school. You know, she was always like the hip, cool young mom. And for me, that kind of made me be interested in stuff she wasn't into. And a lot of that stuff was like kind of hip, so I was like, what's hip that's not rap music? And I just fell into like punk rock. And you know, that was probably like, 13, 14. I guess earlier than that, I remember buying like Fine Young Cannibals cassette tapes when I was a kid. And I mean, yeah, basically I fell into playing music because I like punk rock, and I was like, I want to play guitar. I got guitar lessons, and of course, I'm bringing in anything from like Nirvana to NoFX tablature that I found on the internet. But my teacher wanted to, teach me the blues scales and stuff like that. So, I mean, just by being curious about music, I stumbled into all kinds of different stuff, I guess. The cultural aspects of music have always been so interesting to me. I remember like getting the Rage Against the Machine Evil Empire CD and like opening it up and seeing all these books and being like, these are all banned books? Like, why would these be banned? And why would this band that I really like care about them so much? And then, from that, it was like I'm reading Soul on Ice, and like all this, like, black nationalist literature in my Davenport, Iowa classroom in like the 4th grade, and these teachers being like, what is going on here? Everything that I do is so rooted in technology. Even like the way I make music currently, people are always like, what? Because I don't know theory. I still kind of have like the basics of how to play stuff. But when I started making dance music, it was all on the computer and piano and keyboard based, and I was never really around piano or keyboards. Like, I understand how chords work on guitar and progressions and those kind of things, but piano was just entirely foreign to me because I didn't really have the basics. It was kind of like, okay, here's some scales, and I'm covering Blink-182 songs, and then you get to piano and you're like, I don't know, I'm just gonna poke around until it sounds cool. And then I built like algorithms around like applications, and like whether it was Max, MSP, or like some of those other little tools, like Ableton Scale tool that allows you to make the math side of music work with what I was doing. When I first started producing music, I think all the French touch stuff and like UK garage stuff was like the coolest stuff to me. It had like such a great pop sensibility, and I think for me hearing like UKG, it was so mind-blowing to me because I had associated like rave music and rave culture with what I saw in Iowa, which was like hard house parties with like a bunch of white kids on drugs and cornfields. And I was like, like in London, there's like Jamaican black people raving to songs that sound like what my mom likes, but stuff is way more in like what I'm into with more energy. So that was like mind-blowing to me. And then, all the Roulette stuff and DJ Falcon, and then like listening to Romanthony songs where he has like Louis Farrakhan samples in the beginning, like Hold On. I was like, man, like there's this depth to this rave music that I wasn't exposed to at a mall kiosk. Like there's a depth, and like I guess like the punk rock music nerd in me always enjoyed, the Ian MacKays of the world having these like this message behind everything. And for me, rave music was all about like, bleepity bleeps and lights and drugs. And I was like, I get it, that's cool, the energy of punk rock, but none of the message. So when I discovered like the Roulette stuff and like, kind of more Chicago stuff, and I was like, whoa, there's all this history and soul and message and like themes that I could identify with personally, as well as like the energy and sound that I felt in punk rock. Like this makes so much sense. And I don't think on the surface it may not have made as much sense. I just try and tell everyone to make music. Like, I think it's funny, like you say, talk to someone, you're like, hey, can you cook? Everyone's like, yeah, I can cook a little bit. Like, I can figure it out. Like, I can make peanut butter and jelly. And then you're like, you play music? Like, no, I don't play music. And it's like, well, you can do chopsticks, right? And they're like, oh yeah, I can do chops, but I don't play music. And it's like, no, you can play music. Like, I don't play anything that well, but I just poke around till stuff sounds cool. And I think there's like this barrier of like, oh no, I don't play music. I can't do music because what I do isn't right, like maybe the note isn't in that chord and the progression or whatever it is, but like that was a big deterrent for me early on. I was like, oh, I don't know the right way to do this, but there is no right way. And like if you stop thinking about that and just make stuff that sounds cool, like you're making music. I think big picture for me is like recognizing that like you can make a lot of people really happy with some like a bass line. that's so cool to me. That's so cool that like you hear songs that are 3 notes and they make 4,000 people lose their minds. Like that's pretty cool. I mean, there's something about music that is, again, so primal. You know, like banging a drum. I'll be exhausted. I'll want to sleep for 3 days and not want to play at all. And I'll walk into a nightclub and hear like loud music and flashing lights. It makes me want to smile now thinking of it, but I'm just like, yeah. Like it's something, a part of me. There's an internal thing. It's like, music makes you feel good. So I like sitting down and being like, let's make something that makes me feel good in my heart piece. And then hopefully people will feel the same. I try to make music for people that want to dance or have a good time. And my sets are the same way. Like I go to Miami and you hear people getting kicked off their DJ sets because they're playing only for them, and that's cool. But one part of me, and maybe it's a country kid in me, it's just like, this is so not about me. These people paid probably far too much money to come in and having a good time. I'm not gonna ruin their time and play a bunch of like subby dark techno that they hate. Like, if they wanna hear Pitbull, like, let me try and find some Pitbull for you, bro. There's some Pitbull, have a good time. Ultimately, that's what it is about for me, is like having fun and watching people smile, and like, I'm not gonna compromise myself and play like, I don't know, Screwdriver or some like racist skin thing that like bums everybody out because someone requested it. But like, for me, it's like, if I can play something that, you know, I enjoy maybe a little less, but people enjoy a lot more, like, so be it. It's not like it kills me to like listen to Pitbull and like bob my head, you know, and then I'll sneak in some weird techno afterwards. I remember like being around music producers and DJs who didn't dance. Like, they wouldn't go to clubs and dance. And I was like, that's crazy to me. I was like, being a dance music producer doesn't dance is like being an author doesn't read. You know what I mean? Like, I love dancing. So for me, I always try to be in the studio and identify as like a music fan, not a music producer. Like, I remember being around music producers and be like, oh, and then they're in the club and they're like, oh man, like it's getting really muddy at 50 hertz. And you're like, what? Like, that song is awesome. Like, people are really responding to that. Like, don't make music for music producers, make music for music listeners. You know what's been cool is seeing people that are producers become DJs. They're far more aware of the phrasing of music because they spend so much time living and making music and making songs. The DJ sets to me can sometimes feel like long songs where it's like they're aware of like how songs should fit together, you know, tonally. They'll mix stuff in key, or they'll do stuff so it's phrased properly, so like you're going right out of a chorus into another verse. Or beyond that, like the scope of their sets will have peaks and valleys, whereas, you know, a traditional DJ may just kind of like rock it however he wants to rock it, and he'll be more in tune with like, here's what I'm seeing, I'm just gonna rock this. And a producer might be like, here's how things are supposed to be, I'm gonna do that. And it might be a little more, you know, a little less dependent on what's happening in the room, I guess. There have been these moments in time where technology has like drastically shaped the way music comes together. You know, in the last 10, 12 years, there hasn't been, in my opinion, like a massive change in technology. It kind of has been like reappropriating, you know, analog stuff to sound digital, or like taking digital synth of this and making it work on an iPad. Or, you know, there hasn't been like this breakthrough that's really changed the way music is made. So I'm wondering if there'll be something intuitive. I'm sure there will be. Software though, I like the stuff that takes the math out of it, like stuff that removes the barrier for people that's like, I'm scared to make music, I don't know how to make music. I mean, I think, I question is like, how do I get a booking agent? I think the best thing you can do is like either make good music on your own or consistently make mixes that people are excited about and engaging on like SoundCloud. If you put up a new mix, you know, once every 2 weeks and actively share it with your friends on Facebook, whatever it is, eventually people are gonna be like, man, this is awesome, listen to my car, listen to it on the subway, and listen to wherever it is. And you can start to develop a following and then, you know, play everywhere whenever you can for free. And then it becomes $20, and then it becomes 50 bucks. And then it becomes 100 bucks, and then it becomes 500 bucks, and then the agent is interested. They're like, okay, well, I can make a little bit of money off this, and even a member of your teams can help scale it. So I met Katie like 6 years ago. We were both making music, but also doing other stuff. I was doing graphic design for like flyers, so whatever, and I had designed some stuff for a clothing company that was showing at a fashion trade show called Magic in Vegas. She was modeling one of the shirts that I wore like in the booth when she was trapped there. And I basically was like, hello, pretty girl. Like, what's up? Well, and I mean, she couldn't leave because she was trapped there. She was working. And I was just like, I make music too. Like, we should hang out, da 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 da. And we kept hanging out. And like, you know, it was a thing where she was like just been dropped, was trying to figure it out. I was working with this rap group. We were trying to figure it out. And we both got signed about the same time. You know, we got signed to Interscope. She was signed to Capitol. And it was like, it was just crazy. We became really close, I think, because we were both going through these like radical life transformations of being like broke kids. I'm from Iowa, she's from Santa Barbara, in LA, figuring it out. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh crap, we have record labels and tours and attention and interviews. And we became buds kind of through that, like being able to like bounce ideas off each other. And, you know, I was working on a lot of dance music. Her first record was a bit more rocky. The second one, she wanted to make it more dancey. And so for the live show, especially, she was like, you know, wouldn't it be cool if you helped me kind of reimagine some of these rock songs into kind of more like clubby songs so they mesh better with my live show. And then she asked me to come out and play some songs and open for her. And I was like, yeah, I'll do a little bit. And that became the full tour. And spent a year on the road playing all over the world, playing arenas, which was like insane. But it was also insane to watch her play an arena.
At Point Blank Online, you've got two methods of interaction with your tutor. Firstly, you've got the weekly online masterclass, which is in real time. And then also we've got feedback on your assignments, and that's known as DVR. So the online masterclass is a 1-hour session you get with your tutor every week. You can ask questions about lesson content and get instant feedback, and also demonstrations on the fly from their computer desktop with our streaming technology. DVR stands for Direct Video Response, and the concept is really simple. You upload your Ableton Logic or Cubase project file to your tutor, he downloads it and then pushes record on the screen capturing software and evaluates your work, so basically giving you one-to-one feedback. You see all of the mouse movements and any parameter changes made by your tutor. It's kind of like sitting in the studio over their shoulder watching what they're doing whilst they work. We have found the DVR process has truly revolutionized the way that we teach online, and the results speak for themselves. Book your place on a course now by visiting pointblankonline.net.